Hello, everybody. I'm Vivian McGrath from vivianmcgrath.com, and I want to talk about why dating is costing you your trust in men or women. Have you ever caught yourself saying this, that I'm going to give up because if I keep attracting the same type over and over and over again, what's the point? You know, the types I attract are just the wrong types. What is the point? Do you ever say, I've lost my trust. I can't trust my judgment anymore? Or do you ever hear yourself saying, all the good ones are gone? Because I hear this an awful lot. And, I know you're a person who's really good and kind, and you've got a lot of love to give. And what's happened is you keep attracting types of people into your life who you seem to end up giving way more than they give in return. Somebody who's unavailable to you, and you're just left unfulfilled. And it's been repeating so many times that you're just drained. You're tired of giving more to everybody else than they ever give to you. And so you took a break from dating, and you've been single for quite a while now, and you've got to quite a good place. You're okay being single. You're pretty good within yourself, and you're just starting to think, but that's not what I want. I'd like to have someone to share my life with. It's got a little bit lonely. There's nothing wrong with wanting to share your life with someone, to be able to have those moments like a beautiful sunset to share with. Like the other day, I was at the beach with my husband and I went, oh my gosh, look, there's a whole pod of dolphins. It's so nice that I was there to be able to share that with him. Or, that just a really nice meal now that we're out of lockdown. Just go and have a nice meal and a glass of wine together. Or just those ridiculous moments where something random happens and it's just so funny it becomes part of your shared history. There's nothing wrong with wanting that. And you're in this sort of limbo, trapped between this sort of wariness to date, because you go, well, what's the point if the only people I attract are like that? And really, you have got so much to give, and you don't want to end up alone. So you're in that limbo of, I really want to put myself out there, but I'm a little bit scared. But actually now enough time has passed, so you are going to give yourself a chance. You're going to put yourself out there, and you're going to start dating again. And it's a little bit daunting, but there is a piece of you that is excited about it, because you think maybe this time it will be different. Maybe it will be different than those relationships. The ones where they start off really well at first and you're happy and it feels great, but then after a while the mask slips off and you're just finding they're less available to you. All that love bombing in the beginning has suddenly disappeared, and suddenly you're fighting for crumbs of attention. You're starting to beg for crumbs of attention, even worse, and it's one of those relationships that becomes on and off, hot and cold. One minute they're all in, next minute they're not. Or it's a relationship that you're walking on eggshells, and it's exhausting, and you've been burnt by too many of those. So you really are hoping now that this time it might be different. So a date comes along and you think, okay, this feels great. You feel, enough time has passed. I'm in a stronger place now. And you are feeling great. And it feels really nice to feel attractive again. It feels really nice to be wanted again. And so for a while, you're starting to feel pretty good that maybe it's okay. You're starting to dare to open up again, and you feel sort of safe, and you just even start to dare to dream a little. Are you in that place now? But then what happens? is you start to feel that insecurity creep in. You start to think, am I seeing red flags or not? Am I imagining them or not? And you get that real uncertain feeling in your gut. You're just not so sure. And you start to feel thrown back to that little insecure girl in those relationships of the past. And it starts to fill you with fear. Oh my goodness, I think this feels the same. And so that gets you to the point now where you just go, right, I'm done. I cannot trust men anymore. It's cost me my trust. And I was right. The good ones have gone. It almost confirms that in your mind that the good ones are gone. And so you swear off dating. You say, yep, I was right. I'm not going to do this anymore because it's I've been burnt again. Do you know what I mean? Have you experienced this? But what if I'm here to tell you that it's not about dating, and it's not even about trusting or not, trusting men or women or not. It's got nothing to do with that, because attracting a toxic partner and attracting those toxic relationships over and over and over again it's a really unhealthy and dysfunctional cycle that, if you have been in that before, you will know is something that just rinses and repeats, rinses and repeats, rinses and repeat. And I know this because when I was young, honestly, it was like I had this sign on my forehead that said, anyone toxic, just come and find me. And this is not to blame me. It's not my fault. But honestly, when I looked around at my friends, they didn't attract them. It was me that attracted them. And I had to really, really start to think about it, because I wanted to break this pattern. I was at that point where I'd attracted too many guys into my life that were unavailable, not toxic. We had quite a great, fun relationship, but just a little bit unavailable. And I was starting to give more than they gave back. I had others who lied. I had others who cheated on me. And then I went, as I went through each one, it got worse, to the point where I ended up in a very physically violent relationship, verbally, psychologically, and physically abusive relationship, in which I almost lost my life. And I had to really ask myself, what is the common denominator here? The common denominator was me. And again, I'm not blaming, because it is a fact, and I knew it was, that the common denominator was me. I stayed when I saw the red flags and warning signs, when I know that my other friends of mine would have run a mile, when other people warned me about one or two of these boyfriends, and in my gut I knew they were right. I did not listen to them. So I realized that although as I went through these relationships, my trust in men eroded too. And I thought, how can I ever trust again? But then I realized that, you know what? It's not about dating. It's not about trusting them. It's about me. It's about me. And I had to get to the point where I trusted my gut. I trusted that my boundaries were strong enough. I trusted my self-worth was high enough that I would not accept any behavior, red flags, warning signs like that ever again. So when I started dating again, I realized I don't need to trust men. It's irrelevant, because I trust myself. I put the work in and I got to that point where I really had very high self-worth. I had really strong boundaries that I knew would protect me. And therefore I trusted myself and I listened to my gut. So I didn't need to know whether I could trust in men again or not. The second thing was I didn't swear off dating. I didn't have to become a nun because I was really happy within, with or without a guy. I knew that I was worthy of not settling just because I was desperate to be loved and validated. I got myself to the point where I was so complete and happy within that I didn't need a guy, so that I knew when the right one came, they would be a high level man because I wouldn't accept anything less than that. And I also didn't have to fear that all the good ones are gone, like I hear so many say to me, because I didn't care about them. That all the good ones didn't matter to me. Only the one that was good enough for me was the one I cared about. Does that make sense? So if you are at that point where you're caught in this limbo between I'm too scared to date because I've been burnt too many times, I'm too scared to trust, yet I've got so much love to give, and I deserve to grow old with somebody. I deserve to share my life with somebody, which you do, by the way. If you're stuck between the two, so that you find yourself saying, how can I date when I only ever attract the same types? How can I trust again? All the good ones are gone. If you find yourself saying this, then please do watch my free webinar. And that is to do with breaking this cycle, because it is not about dating or trusting. It is about breaking a cycle of why you keep attracting them into your life, why you stay too long when you see the red flags and warning signs, why you don't trust your gut, why you don't have strong boundaries enough when they start grooming you, hoovering you, and exposing you to coercive control, which is very powerful, you know. And somebody's just asked, do you have any advice on extreme hoovering? Well, it's the same. It's the same. You don't focus on them. It's not about them. You do not focus on them. You cannot change them, but you can change you. So what you want to do is focus totally on you. And if you're ready to do that, please do watch my free masterclass, because that is exactly what it's about. It's about the 5 mind shifts, focusing on you. It's not about them, it's about you. Not to blame, but it is about you. And that I go in deep, 45 minutes of free class that really tells you the 5 mind shifts you need to make to break free of this cycle, so that you never say to yourself, how can I trust again? Because you will be in such a strong place that you won't have to. Does that make sense? So I hope that resonates with you. If you look in the description below, you'll find the link to that webinar. And when you come onto these lives, please tell me, say hi, tell me where you are, because I'd love to know where in the world you are as well. And if you're on YouTube watching this right now, please do click to subscribe and ring the bell so that you always get notified when I'm going live, because I do go live probably 2 or 3 times a week. But because I'm so busy, I can't always lock that into a certain time. So I do tend to sometimes just jump on here on the spur of the moment when I have a free, bit of time to spare to do them. So thank you for joining me, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye for now.